Welcome back, everybody, to another week or few weeks of the Kentwood Project.
We have had some larger projects going on that have taken up a good amount of time across those days, including flooring, electric, some HVAC and plumbing. So stick around and you guys can see a bit more of that action.
So, starting out the flooring, we are over where we'd had two partial walls. So we took those out and needed to patch the floor in that area. We're using both new hardwood and reclaimed from the bathroom here in this section. I learned a lot here, this being the first area that I was doing flooring, and thankfully I chose this area because the next area was even trickier, so I'm glad I started with that one to get it a little bit under my belt. So here we are, moved across the room to where there'd been another partial wall.
Question. Why is there a big open space that you didn't do the floor?
Oh, back on in the first area.
Yeah.
Since we will be having our new cabinets in, we didn't need to run the hardwood all the way under the cabinets because they won't be seen. So saving ourselves a little bit of work as well as material. So this area required a little bit more test fitting, cutting, remeasuring. So as you can see, there are a couple times that I place the board down and then take it back out, and even place a couple boards and take them back out. So this area was definitely a challenge, but we learned a lot and actually decided to end up cutting our own tongue and grooves for some of the boards to allow for better fits. So when I'm away for larger periods on some of these videos, I'm actually over there cutting the wood.
Which, there's now going to be a link in the top of this video right about the section, so you can click on it and actually watch the full how-to video that Rachel did on how to do these floors, and kind of watch you do the step-by-step of what she's doing.
So this was another area where it became, some problem solving had to be done because I didn't have enough space to hammer the boards in. So we ended up having to find ways to kind of wedge other pieces of wood and create leverage so that we could get the boards to fit together without actually using the hammer to get them in. So that was interesting. By about this point, I was very ready to get this section of floor patching finished.
How many days of flooring does this time lapse cover?
This time lapse on all the different sections, I guess it's probably about 7 or 8. I know I worked on the area that we're looking at right now for 4 days for sure.
It looks good.
finally, we are at the last section of the floor that needed to be repaired. This was an area where we'd had 2 walls and an opening that we enhanced and made wider. So I really thought this was going to be just kind of a home run, easy section, but of course, the actual width was not a full width of a plank. So I had to make all the planks a little bit smaller or skinnier. And then of course, too, it wasn't exactly square. So all of the planks were not just like 2 inches wide. They would be 2 inches on one side and 2 and, not quite a quarter, but something else a little longer on the other side. So all the angles were off, and then I was cutting tongues and grooves as well as the long groove on one side. So there was a lot of cutting to finish out this one strip of flooring. And again, it was almost celebratory by the time we were fitting in the last piece, which we're just about there.
Here it is, the last piece.
Well, no, that.
Oh, any moment now.
The baby piece is the last piece.
Oh, true, the little baby one. Almost there.
Ah, there it was.
Now we're diving into a bunch of rewiring.
It's electric.
Yes. But currently it is not electric because the breakers are off.
Good thing.
We are safe. But what you're going to be seeing is a bunch of outlets being taken off, old wiring being cut out, and new wiring being put in. And it looks repetitive because it was repetitive. I think we had 4 plugins per room and 5 rooms, so math says that's a lot of plugins.
This house is definitely well plug-in equipped.
Yes. So here is a snippet of my fun time in the crawl space. Luckily, a lot of the video didn't turn out, because it's also not very exciting, but it was dark and wet and cobwebby, but necessary.
Now, what are you doing here?
So here is another circuit, wiring up another, I believe, 7 plugins, and also I think I wired in the HVAC fan to the same circuit, but this here is just switching out more plugins so that they're all grounded and safe. So what I think you're doing here next was pretty clever. So what is it and why are you doing it?
So it is finally time to prep for painting. And most people know about laying down paper, but I came across the idea of laying down 1mm plastic underneath the paper. So the paper obviously prevents if we have any splatters and whatnot while we're painting, it protects the floor. But the plastic is kind of an extra layer of protection should we have any larger spills of paint or liquid. This is going to also keep that floor that we have worked so hard on and that we're going to be working hard on protected.
Well, that was a lot of good work.
Yes, it was, wife.
Progress has been made, and more to come in the following weeks.
Yep.
But for this past week, Well, that's a wrap.
Tour! We did it!
We did it!